What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, reviewing today Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled. If you've been subscribed to this channel for a long while, I'm sure you'll recall that back in the day I made a video called Top 10 Games That Are Total Ripoffs. And in this, I outlined a bunch of stuff that I considered more than just a copycat, more than just a mimic, but in fact, things that in my opinion were just straight up trying to rip off another franchise. And in this video, I actually said that CTR is nothing more than a ripoff of Mario Kart, and I actually regret that. Because this is a franchise that manages to be different for several reasons, but the main aspect being that it is just so hard. So today, what I want to do is take a deep dive look at this new game, the franchise in general, and basically ask the question of, was I wrong about Crash Team Racing? Now, first and foremost, I want to outline what this game is, because it's actually a lot more than meets the eye. So at first glance, you may just assume that this is an HD remake of the classic PS1 racer, when in fact, this is two games combined into one for a cheap price. This is actually the first and second CTR games completely redone. Every track, every character, and a lot of different bonuses all shoved together into one giant bundle. That means you're going to be getting over 30 tracks to race on, special online modes, battle arenas, over 12 of them, and all sorts of additional things that are thrown in just as really fun extras. But as much as I enjoyed this game, I do want to say right up front that there are some things in this that are huge problems that need to be addressed. Let's start by just taking a couple laps around the track itself and seeing what's so special about this. Now, something that just immediately strikes you is that this does, by appearances, seem like just a kart racer, a standard one like anything that Sonic would do or Mario would do on their off day, when in actuality, the main difference of this between other things that are similar to it is that Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled is brutally hard. I'm not even joking, this is not for kids, despite the fact that it may have a cutesy art style and silly catchphrases while you're blowing people up. This is easily the hardest kart racer I have ever played, because there is so much skill in every single facet of it. Like, here is the drifting system. So this is called a drift boost. Basically what you do is you do a little hop as you're already turning, which begins the drift, and then press the other jump button to start using a turbo boost. Each time you press it though, you need to do it at the exact correct millisecond to get the biggest boost possible. Now, one of the things they've added for this version that I really appreciate is now your tires actually glow as you're going into a drift to let you know the perfect optimal moment to press the jump button again. Now, the reason I like this is because in the original versions, you just had a tiny little meter in the corner, but now we have obviously multiple visual cues, which does make this a lot easier, and it basically enables you to keep your eyes even more on the track. Now, as you're drifting around and trying to time every single boost to the perfect millisecond, you additionally need to worry about grabbing different power-ups. So before we get into the attacks, let me talk about Wampa Fruit. So there are these crates occasionally that look like they're filled with weird jungle apples, and picking these up does two things simultaneously, which is, number one, it gives you a better top speed. You're faster if you have more apples, up until 10 total Wampa Fruit. But additionally, if you have 10 Wampa Fruit, what this does is it makes it where every single one of the attack items you pick up is turbocharged. And when you have this, it can make it where the different abilities are a lot more lethal. Whenever you pick up these little question mark boxes, you're going to get some sort of random attack or defense ability, something like a shield or a huge homing beacon electric ball, or you can drop an explosive crate on the ground that if somebody picks up, it gets stuck to their head and blows them up. Now, all of these are extremely good, but obviously the nitro-charged versions are way, way better. Now, something I just want to say is that getting first place here is a true testament to skill. This seems like I'm overhyping it, but it took me many hours of practice to get good at memorizing the track, timing every single drift properly, getting the boosts, managing to hop at the apex of every single ramp so I get the landing boost as well, and hoping I am lucky enough to get any sort of different good items out of these boxes, because getting a boost or being able to drop a chemical while on the ground can a lot of times mean the difference between first place and last place. This is not an exaggeration or being overly dramatic. This game does not have a behind car boost system. Something that you may not know is the reason that Mario Kart is so easy is because everybody is pretty much glued together. You are programmed to stay together as a pack, so even if you're doing bad, when you're behind, your car will actually go just 5 or 10% faster, so it always seems like it's possible to catch up. This does not seem to exist in any way within this game, which means that if you make a mistake, you can end up miles behind the competition. And while I was trying to get better at the game and really try and learn all these different courses, that occasionally happened, where I was just completely behind and had to really improve myself if I wanted to keep up. Now I want to talk a little bit about the adventure mode, because it takes these facets of good racing and good challenges and takes them to the next level, because you get to drive around and do all sorts of stuff. Now adventure mode did technically exist in the original CTR, but you could only play as one character, which was Crash. In this revamped version of it, you can play as anybody you want. Essentially the story is that some evil aliens have decided to come down and are challenging the world's best racers to some laps around the track, and whoever comes in first gets to save the planet or destroy the planet. Pretty easy, right? Well, let's face it, it's basically just an excuse to try and go on even more races, which is great because, hey, it's Crash Team Racing and it's really fun. Now, the main difference between this and standard courses is the fact that, it's a little bit easier if you want it to be, or harder if you want it to be, because there are some nice difficulty settings, but additionally, every 3 or 4 tracks you have a boss fight, where you're going against some sort of special character using their abilities from their personal game. Like if it's a crazy mad scientist, they may dump a bunch of giant poison all over the track that you have to avoid. And these are very fun. Honestly, they're tough, they're weird, and they're a very nice homage to the source material. I am a huge Crash Bandicoot fanboy. I think the games are super good, or at least the original trilogy is fantastic. So I like the fact that they really try to basically really show respect for the roots of this franchise instead of just being a random weird spin-off. And it's here that I feel like it manages to establish itself the most. It's nice to do tracks and explore this nice little hub world and get cool unlockables so I can cosmetically customize my car to the way I like. But this does bring me to the biggest downside of all, which is that currently the online is broken. Even if you manage to do a bunch of the adventure mode and unlock all the different characters, when you actually go into the online tracks and try and just compete against others, 99% of the time, nothing happens. The lobbies crash, something doesn't function, or even if I did get into races, they were so glitchy and so laggy, just competing was impossible. Now, if you happen to watch this video in the distant future, perhaps this will be fixed, but I'm warning you that if you're buying this day one, you are going to encounter some serious online issues that seem like they need a patch. It seems like there is some sort of problem, not just with the servers, but with how our consoles are connecting to them, which is honestly a huge downside. The biggest reason that I'm glad that we get these style of remakes and stuff is that we can have modern technology kind of assisting ancient tech. We can have old school games in a new light. So seeing the fact that the online currently is completely broken is obviously a huge detriment. I had a lot of fun with this game. Getting to beat it and unlock stuff was fun, even if it did take me a lot of hours just to get good at it. But I still think that it's something that is not for everybody. This is for a very specific demographic of racers. This is for people who want to be pushed to their absolute limit, and if they make even one tiny mistake, they instantly lose. If you are really willing to deal with this and really see if you are strong enough to handle this game, I do think that you'll absolutely love it. Okay, so we've heard some good and some bad, but let's go over the ratings board and put a big number on it. I am giving Crash Team Racing Nitro-Fueled an 8 out of 10. All the footage you're seeing in this video was recorded on a PlayStation 4 Pro, and I just gotta say that this game is really a feast for the eyes. I have to just say I massively respect the developers for managing to do so much with this visually. It is gorgeous. Water effects, crazy hair, nice art, and tons of different skins to make it where we could really tinker with the visuals ourselves was a nice touch that I'm glad they went the distance for. Thanks so much for watching, gamers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share with your friends, and subscribe if you haven't already. But do me the biggest favor of all and keep dreaming. Oh man, I really hope they fix the online. I've heard it's mostly broken on PS4, Xbox, I don't know about Switch, but hopefully it's working. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.